Happiest man in Melbourne tonight, and we saw the little smile from him yesterday into the camera. Is Toto Wolff. The rocket ship that is the Mercedes. Yeah. Fernando Alonso is in a mentally bad place. I think we all expected, Fernando included, Aston Martin would be a rocket ship to rival Mercedes. The incredible admission from Adrian Newey that these two drivers won't finish the race.
It's a big mess.
It's a disaster. We saw the first safety car.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton straight on the radio questioning.
Then he realized both Mercedes drivers went in.
Yeah.
Both. I understand from Ferrari that you say, okay, we're going to do something completely on the opposite of Mercedes. But spread your risk, always go at least with one car go in.
Given what we saw, would it have made any difference? What is the pit talk powered by Ithara just minutes after the opening race
Still shaking.
Of the 2026 season? You and me both, we drank so much caffeine this morning.
Oh, that's it, probably. Robert, that's why I'm shaking.
What a start to 2026.
Yeah, I was not so happy yesterday, Chris, after qualifying. Then I was getting a little bit worried. But today made up for it. Let's not forget, Formula One is, in my opinion, more a driver's world championship than an engineering world championship. And yesterday, it felt like it was more of an engineering, with the batteries and not being able to go flat out in quali. But these opening 15 laps today, mega.
We talked about it in the preview show about whether this was F1 at its purest. And I think we still have maybe one or two doubts. Yeah. However, as a product, and you and I were talking about the kind of balance between sport and entertainment.
True.
That opening 15 laps was bloody brilliant.
That was the perfect balance of sport, drivers going on the limit, no tire saving, no engine saving, batteries charging, whatever. Everybody was on it, Wheels locking, George almost going off for the lead, overtaking on the outside, through the dust, Leclerc on the limit. This is how Formula One should be. And I think the rules then played out very well. They've done a great job in that
There
respect.
is an awful lot for us to unpack. You will notice, for those of you watching, we are back at our spiritual home, Milli Miglia.
Yeah.
Great for the guys to open the doors early. An 8 a.m. start to this race here in Dubai. Doors were open early. You brought the Nespresso machine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So
there was no barista here this early in the morning. You brought it, Rob. We got tanked up on it. And then we didn't really need it in the end because the race itself lived up to all expectations. The headline stories, George Russell, a 6th Grand Prix victory. I love this stat as well. The first Mercedes 1-2 without Lewis Hamilton since when?
1950 something. I heard it, but it was 50. What was it?
55.
55.
Who were the two drivers?
With Fangio and...
Come on, Rob.
Yeah, you're...
English.
Sterling Moss.
Fangio
and Moss.
Fangio
55
and Moss.
Okay, in the Lewis Hamilton
of
days,
course, dominated. But the last
ones.
Mercedes 1-2 that didn't involve Lewis Hamilton was back in 1955.
Okay.
So George Russell winning it, Kimi Antonelli second, Charles Leclerc holding on to third, but so much more.
Well, let's start with Oscar Piastri, mate. What happened? I mean, home hero at I think 13 minutes past
two local time,
and then 10 minutes later he's in the wall. I mean, that to me it looked like a similar issue on the warm-up lap.
Making his way to the grid.
The parade lap to the grid.
Hometown hero, sickener.
But it looked not as a driver error. I'm sure he hopes that it also doesn't look like a driver error on the data. But it's a very strange place just to go off and destroy your car, really destroy this car.
I think he talked about there was 100 kilowatts extra and a little bit of
a glitch,
like
a software glitch with Max Verstappen when just the rear axle locked in qualifying completely. I mean, you can be a 4-time world champion, you can have a very fast hands, but you will never catch a car at that speed. So that is the other side of the new rules that sometimes surprises you.
A shocker of a start for McLaren.
Shocker.
I mean, hometown hero, proud Aussie boy. The fact he's not even made the grid.
Yeah.
And then we eventually get to it. We're sat there, we're watching it. Crofty, lights
Ferrari
out,
start.
and away we go.
Ferrari start. I told you in Bahrain.
You did.
This starts in Bahrain. They practiced a few in the winter testing, which is already uncommon because everybody was a bit worried of, but how many seconds do you need to rev it? Like, I won't get too technical, but last year we had the MGU cage and the MGU H. And the MGU-H would sort of spin up the turbo for you automatically. And now you have to do it manually by your foot to get to the right RPM. And sometimes it will take 8 seconds, 12 seconds, depending on which engine manufacturer you have. But what we learned in Bahrain is that the launch of the line of the Ferrari is from a different planet.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be anywhere in the top 10 and be leading the Grand Prix into turn 1.
Charles, and that
Charles
proved,
was like a video game.
You watch it from the kind of sky cam looking down over proceedings. It is literally, I know the Mercedes is a rocket ship, but from the start.
From launching, it was like the mushroom and Super Mario Kart.
Yes, you picked up the mushroom and away you go.
Yeah.
It was extraordinary.
Yeah.
That got him in the lead. Lewis Hamilton makes an incredible start. Kimi Antonelli drops back to 7th. And then that opening 15 laps, as we've alluded to, Robert, they're swapping the lead, Russell and Leclerc. It's just every single turn seemingly.
Yeah, and the gaps were big. So normally if they were fighting, you would lose a couple of tenths here and there. And here you can lose seconds in one lap. You remember Lewis being like 4 or 5 seconds back. Suddenly he made up all this time and he was also in the fight for the lead. Also surprising, Arvin Lindblad running in 4th place, the rookie. Points on debut at the end of the day, but at the opening laps, he was running in 4th place. Unbelievable.
George, the winner. You and I, though, we're still bemoaning the fact, and I think the line at the end of this race, nice job, guys. I love this car.
And I love
this engine.
The most important, yeah.
Yeah, no wonder.
Yeah.
Because you were making the point, and one of the many observations, the tyres, they were on that hard compound for over 40 laps.
Unbelievable.
And yet, he cruised home.
Yeah, I mean, he stopped early due to the virtual safety car, which Ferrari should have done as well in hindsight. That. But then going for plan A for the long run was quite challenging. Normally with Ferrari or with Pirelli tires, you won't last that long, more than 40 laps. You saw some graining on the left front, but the pace was blindingly fast.
And it's George Russell. So despite the fact he's had a good weekend, he cannot help himself in that battle with Charles.
Oh yeah,
he's on the radio and
asking
he's
for the yellow again. Asking for the yellow. It's like a soccer player that is just trying to get the attention of the ref, or like a lawyer who's building a case. By communicating everything over the radio. And I always think if I hear these messages, put that energy into the driving part. Forget about it. We'll see it on TV. The team will see it on TV. Let other people take care of that. And you just focus on the driving. But he, in the middle of that action, he still has time to press the radio button and complain. That's typical George.
It's typical George. That being said, the rocket ship that is the Mercedes. You and I, every time we were on board with one of the Mercedes, and it was mainly George, the sound of that Mercedes engine.
You refer to a kettle?
It's a little bit like, I think of an old school kettle on the stove when it starts to whistle when you've got to pull it off. Yeah. Literally, as the Mercedes is, it's incredible.
When he hits the straight mode, the SM, then he hits the button and the car will just accelerate to the highest top speed. I mean, not in the slipstream. I think Ocon had a higher one, but throughout the whole weekend, the Mercedes had the fastest top speed everywhere. So the engine is on acceleration, on top speed. It's just the best car out there. Yeah,
we are, of course, and it's only the first race of 24, for goodness sake. But we would not be doing our jobs if we were not making snap little decisions and snap kind of conclusions for
winners and losers.
Mercedes are going to win this year. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to be laughed at. They are. The only thing that's going to make this year interesting will be the way the Ferrari get off the start line.
True. And if Ferrari gets their strategy right, that can make a difference.
Well, let's go there.
That can make definitely.
Because we saw the first safety car.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton straight on the radio, questioning.
But not. He would have been straight on the radio if he saw the virtual safety car and say, "Guys, I want to come in." That's what Max would have done at Red Bull. Probably,
he waited a couple.
He waited because we also hear the radio later. But he told the team afterwards. Then he realized, shit. Both Mercedes drivers went in.
Yeah.
Both. That's also risky. It's. I understand from Ferrari that you say, okay, we're going to do something completely on the opposite of Mercedes, but spread your risk. Always go at least with one car go in, so you can have your balance at the end of the day. You want to be on the podium with two cars, not with one.
Given what we saw, would it have made any difference?
I think so, because you can take away a lot of the lap time from a Mercedes if you're in a battle, as we saw in the first 15 laps. If it would have been George just leading after turn one, the gap would be huge.
Game over, yeah.
Yeah, because on the hard compound tires, they were faster than the Ferraris on the medium. So the start, being in the fight obviously makes a big difference.
Mercedes.
But they've done a great job.
Oh, they've done an unreal job. And when you look at Kimi Antonelli, he was in the wars in qualifying on Saturday, produced a wonderful flying lap to get second. Yeah. He was in the wars early on from the start. He was down in 7th. Yeah. For him to eventually
finish like 4 seconds behind his teammate in P2 is quite impressive. And Formula One at its best, Chris. I mean, yesterday when you crash your car with only 10 minutes left in free practice before qualifying, you put a lot of pressure on your mechanics to rebuild you the fastest car they can. And by doing so, within 1 minute left or something, he was able to go out and qualify in second place. So Formula One at its finest, if you ask me.
Yeah, Mercedes, the big winners. Ferrari, 3rd and 4th. Yeah. Charles on the podium. Lewis still waiting for a podium. But the Ferrari boys, they'll be buoyed by the way they start races. And
the pace.
Yeah.
The pace, overall, I think they can be happy. Yeah. I mean, it's not the 1-2 finish that they had in 2024. With Sainz and Leclerc. I mean, that was on the table today at a certain stage in the race. We didn't see Kim Kardashian in the pit lane.
No, we didn't.
We didn't. So
no,
that's
you were disappointed by that.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
You can bet your life when she does arrive, and she will be at one, maybe more races.
They forget to show the car.
We're only going to see half of the racing action. When she's there, the TV executives are going to be trained in the garage. I guess other bits and pieces. You've got the issues with Oscar, Lando. The comments yesterday, and how much do you lean into what he's saying there, Robert? Talking about the fact that we've gone from having arguably the best car in Formula One to now the worst. Yeah. That is a man backing away from the hot steaming pile of mess, seemingly that. And McLaren didn't do that bad. They ended up finishing 5th on a weekend that was very difficult.
That bad, 50 seconds behind the leader with the same engine, which means your chassis and aerodynamics is not great. Your pace is not great. It's painful. I think it's still painful. But points on the board for the world champion. But coming from that car that he had last year, he had by far the best car the whole season. Then to this car, it's an adjustment. You know?
And how difficult is that mentally? From being world champion and having the number best car on the grid.
And you have number 1 on your car. You're the defending champion, and you know already, I'm not going to be able to defend this championship.
That must
be a little bit of a...
Yeah, mentally.
Yeah, mentally. I mean, it's a long season. Let's not get carried away and say George will win this with 2 fingers in his nose. No. Maybe Kimi has a good day as well.
True.
And pushes him a bit more. But I think McLaren, they also made a mistake with their sponsoring on the car. Because you can't read anything
the pit
on the
orange
on
there.
Part. Pit talk is on there. Yeah, we have a great deal for nothing. No, all in all, I think those are the big winners. Obviously, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. At the end of the day, it's strange. You know, on Saturday they were the winners with Isaac Hadjar to be as a new OEM, Red Bull powertrains to fight against Ferrari and Mercedes, who've been doing this for 75 years already. To be up there in 3rd place with their rookie driver was quite impressive. But then to see the engine fail in the race, you think, okay, is Max going to finish?
Well, the fact that
Max is also a winner today.
He started the back of the grid, an uncharacteristic mistake. In fact, I don't recall Max making the mistake ever that he did.
Because it was not his mistake. It was just a glitch in the software who just decided to rear lock the MGUK, what sort of generates this energy, just locked it, the rear wheels, at that speed. You cannot catch it. He was lucky not to break his wrist because, drivers, here we have a steering wheel. If you have the wheel in your hand like this, obviously you try to hold on to it while you're spinning the car or trying to get the clutch for anti-stall to try to get out of a gravel trap or something. But then when you hit the wall, the steering wheel then... Normally they say, I'm also experiencing crashing race cars. They say, get your hands off the steering wheel just before you hit the wall, just before impact.
And so he was lucky not to break his wrists.
He was lucky not to break his wrists on the Saturday afternoon, yeah.
How do you, just on that point, this is a really strange question.
How do you practice your wrist? Is it really something you want to ask me now? This is in the category I'm going to polish my helmet before we go.
Careful, Robert. How do you strengthen? Strange question, but how do you strengthen wrists?
Stress ball.
The guys will walk along.
Yeah. But to be honest, the wrist doesn't need to be that strong because you have power steering in these cars. But it's more brace yourself for impact. Yeah.
So when these boys jump out of these cars, are their forearms on fire? What part of the body's hurting the most?
Neck.
The neck.
Yeah, the G-forces here are not particularly, apart from turn 8 and 9, you could see inside the cockpit, you see the helmet move from left to right. Braking is impressive, but most of the neck. And mentally, I think mentally they're drained now because there's so much to do.
Well, this is it.
Mentally, it's more challenging than ever.
And that was one of the, watching this, and we're all new to this. You were kind of having a little bit of a grumble. Certainly from a TV perspective, we weren't seeing enough of the battery powers. You'd have liked to have seen more graphics.
Yeah, so you get more into the battle, and it's like, okay, is he going to deploy it? Because it seemed to me like a game of where do you deploy and where does the guy defend? And I've seen some good battles, but the graphics are important also to understand it.
But, and this is where we come back to the product part of it, I'm all for a driver being made to work a little bit harder for their points on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I like the idea that it's a little bit more of a battle between the years than perhaps it has been. And I'm not disparaging successful drivers in recent years, but I like the idea now that our drivers got to do more.
Yeah. So it's at the end of the day, it's more of a driver championship than an engineering championship, right?
I'm all for that.
And me too. And I think today, the first 15 laps proved that. The remaining of the race was more like settling in. And I think some drivers were lucky to have a virtual safety car, and others were unlucky because a real safety car means you really bunch up the field and you get closer. But all in all, it's a positive first Grand Prix.
And you can forget George Russell, the happiest man in Melbourne tonight. And we saw the little smile from him yesterday into the camera. He's Toto Wolff.
Toto Wolff. They've done a great job.
I mean, he is.
2014, introduction of the hybrid engines. Mercedes was on a different planet. They even had like a qualifying boost mode, and they were just, the only thing the drivers had to do on a Sunday morning is beat your teammate. Show up and beat your teammate. It looks like they've done another great job, and all respect for them. I mean, they're an OEM, like Ferrari is an OEM, like Honda is an OEM. Oh, let's not talk about Honda. I mean, or let's talk about Honda.
Let's go there, because whilst Toto Wolff,
from hero to zero,
he'll be sleeping very soundly tonight. Yeah. One man who will not be, and I don't think this man has slept in the last few weeks, is Adrian Newey.
Yeah.
Because since we did this preview show, it's come out that Fernando Alonso is in a mentally bad place. I think we all expected, Fernando included, Aston Martin would be a rocket ship to rival Mercedes. That hasn't come to pass. We then had the incredible admission from Adrian Newey that these two drivers won't finish the race, as that proved the case. There is permanent nerve damage potentially to the drivers because of the vibrations going through the car. It's a mess.
It's a mess. It's a big mess.
It's a disaster.
It's something you would expect from a Cadillac. For example, you come as a new team, new organization. It's all a big mess, playing with the big boys. I mean, compared to Cadillac is like in a league above Aston Martin. They've done a great job, by the way, just by showing up. And it's more like an Olympic thought of finishing races. And with Valtteri they didn't, but with Perez they did. But Aston Martin, what you just mentioned, is you cannot expect from an organization that spent billions. Lawrence Stroll is also a guy that doesn't sleep very well, I think. And in Japan, they won't sleep well because they're proud people, the Japanese. But for some reason, the whole Honda engineering team that was there in the successful years with Max Verstappen at Red Bull Racing,
70%
gone.
This is the story that's emerged as well. When they rocked up they found out in November that there was only 30% of the original Honda team in place. New minds, new individuals had joined, but they've proven themselves to be a long way shy. Incapable, you've said it.
Incapable of producing a Formula One engine with the new standards. The 2026 rules they've been out there for many years. Everybody knew what to expect. And it's just a painful decision. And knowing that they had a Mercedes engine. So if they would have stuck with the Mercedes engine, the package would have been a lot better. But probably Lawrence Stroll thought, you know what, I don't want to be just a customer.
That's it.
Rightly so. I want to be my own factory team. I want to have everything under control. Painful.
But when you've got Fernando Alonso ostensibly retiring from the race, they worked on the car 11 laps behind the leading.
Get them out again. Yeah, you need data because, the cars are flown out to Melbourne. You have to pack them tonight. They have to be in a crate to fly out to China. The next time you see them is going to be Thursday to build up the cars. And Friday you're practicing again. So any data you can get it. They saw it more like a test session than a Grand Prix. And that's painful, for their partners, for everybody. And for Alonso, knowing that the old fox is probably going to retire after this year, he would have expected to have a great final showdown.
So you talk about the kind of mental headspace of Oscar. Disappointment tonight, he'll get over it. For Fernando, he's living in that day to day. Because
there's no real light at the end of the tunnel. Knowing that, you have almost a triple header now in Asia. There's no time to test. Back in the old days, you could have a test team, just running cars and figuring out what's going on. There's a chance that we're not racing in April due to the fact what's going on in the Middle East. We have 2 Grand Prix, we have Bahrain and Jeddah. If they would decide to cancel those races, then there's only one team on the grid that is happy that there's 1 month no racing. Aston Martin, because they can test something on the dyno and they can try to recover some of their losses.
Yeah, on that point, in actual fact, not to make light of it, Formula One have said they continue to monitor the situation in the Middle East. Thankfully, we've got 5 weeks.
Yeah, about 30 days.
12th of April for Bahrain, and then, of course, Saudi coming the week after. So we've still got time, but it is...
Fingers crossed. Because if it's safe, we go out there as well. We have to see the cars up close and personal. But that's up to F1 to decide.
So come on then, from what you've seen, I mean, there's just some of the talking points. We'll get to Franco Colapinto as well. I want to get to
hero of the day as well,
because that is the story that many of you might have missed.
Everybody thinks like, what? What's the hero of the day?
Why is he the hero of the day? All to be revealed. But overall, then, Robert, and it is just the first installment.
Yeah.
It was bonkers, that opening 50. I mean, you and I was almost sat on your lap. We were getting so excited watching it. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
Your overall takeaways, is this going to be, we're going to, like anything, change takes time to get used to. But are you enthused? Are we going to get some bonkers stuff in the coming weeks?
I'm enthused. Yeah, I see a Formula One World Championship with new rules and regulations. I try to be on the seat of different stakeholders to understand why these rules and regulations have changed so dramatically. You have to keep pleasing the OEMs, the car manufacturers, by adjusting these engine rules. Because if you just say, no, we go all in with the V10s and the V8s, I'm for, and everybody else is for, but it doesn't make sense for the OEMs to invest in that era of combustion engines. On a fan perspective, I was disappointed yesterday in qualifying. I hope that they're going to do something about the qualifying, that maybe you cannot use that much battery or something, because you want to see more of a driver input.
Yeah, because
I missed the driver input.
The qualifying time on Saturday was 3.5 seconds slower than 12 months ago.
Yeah, so that's a big thing, in Formula One. In normally you see the cars just gaining lap time over the years because the innovation is there. Now it feels like a couple of steps backwards on that aspect on qualifying. But the racing, I thought was really good.
Well, I just can't recall the last time without the rain that I've been at the edge of my seat.
With 4 cars in the lead after 15 seconds.
It was insanity. Yeah. And then the swapping of the lead. To your point, Hamilton, you think, wow, he's already 4 seconds back.
So he's gone.
Couple of turns.
He's there.
Yeah. So that, if they can package up that, because ultimately, when I think back to what I, as a F1 fan, has wanted, I just want wheel-to-wheel.
Battle,
racing.
combat.
Yeah. And it is crazy though, because you talk about it being a chess match. I think, was it Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly?
Oh yeah, the wheel-to-wheel.
The wheel-to-wheel, where the battery goes.
Okay.
And then
he was next to him, like,
we're done. Gone. And that's the beauty of it. You've really got to pick your attacking moments.
And that it changes on each circuit. So the preparation is even more important than what you're going to do on track. I think, because you have to understand, okay, in China, it's a complete different ball game. We have a very long straight. You see overtaking now in places where you have never seen it before.
Yeah.
And that's also nice. It makes the new tracks more interactive.
You being the Formula One driver that you are, Robert, or were any longer, would you have relished this test?
Yeah, I mean, any car. I would have loved to be George Russell sitting in the fastest car and with the biggest engine,
Yeah, true.
And I would not be willing to stand in Fernando Alonso's shoes at this stage, because you're not even competing. It's not a problem if you don't have the fastest car. I've been there as well, but at least you're sort of in the race competing with the other slowest team out there. But now there's just no perspective for them. So it's painful.
The other kind of story that I know you were excited about, this young man making his debut, Arvid Lindblad.
18 years, very young, very mature. I mean, all these young guys get prepped so well. Red Bull has the scholarship from young age. They prep their drivers on a physical preparation, mental preparation, really trying to extract the talent out of these young kids. Arvid Lindblad was good in Formula 2, was not great, was not the best I've ever seen. He didn't dominate the championship at all, but he's great in a Formula 1 car. Like he felt like a fish in the water. You know, the first couple of laps in his first Grand Prix, he's out there, he's just battling it out with Lewis, battling it out with Max, and points on debut. Great.
It's another young kid.
Yeah.
Again, I call him a kid, a young man. So many of these 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, even Kimi, of course, finishing second. What's he, 19?
Yeah.
You've got Bierman, who's not much older than that.
No,
as
you
well.
said when the father of Bierman was on the screen.
David.
David. It could have been like his older brother, you know. Such a young families.
That's it.
And that's when if you go to a go-kart track now, and I notice this in the UAE as well, I get called by dads that have young talents as a son. They all think their son is the next Max Verstappen.
Robert Doornbos.
Yeah, well, I do not hope for them, but let's aim higher for that. But it's all about being on the go-kart track, you know, getting the miles in on a young age, and then going through the ranks, Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2.
But with that, they're a little bit, I'm going to say it, they're a bit cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter?
You know what I mean? Like they
What's
cut
a cookie cutter?
It's an expression that whereby they're all kind of the same ilk. They're coming off a production line where they all have the same, megawatt smile.
Of course.
They're all, and I think maybe it's up to people like us and certainly F1 Inc. to get that personality more out there.
Yeah. They're prepped too well, maybe. Instead of just the talent that got them there, it's more than that. You know, they've been they know how to talk to the media, they know what to say, they know how to be politically correct, and they don't swear as much on the radio.
Well, there is that too.
Yeah,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I am hearing that Isaac Hadjar.
Oh, he has a bit of a temper.
I've heard he's ruffled a couple of feathers to his belt.
Yeah, it's funny because some people compare him to like a short French guy who was fast in the past, was Alain Prost, right?
He's got a bit of a peacock about
a bit of a peacock attitude, but he's also on the radio. But he's a very intelligent guy, very smart guy. And I think now in this new era of Formula 1, you need also some brains.
And he's got that. But Robert, new season, new expectations, third in qualifying for Isaac, same old story. That second seat in Red Bull is cursed.
Well,
the engine blows.
He beat his four-time world champion teammate on the first qualifying.
What happens?
Yeah,
what happens
he's
in the
lucky.
race?
He's lucky. But
his engine blows.
His engine blew. But you never get a second chance for a good first impression. And I think Isaac did a great job to go into that team. He didn't have a lot of miles in Bahrain. I was there. He was unlucky. Max got way more miles in. So, to arrive in Melbourne with a P3 on the grid.
But how frustrating is that?
When the engine blows, that's...
And Max, because
that's the thing. We know now the engine blew, but then in a few weeks from now, we look at the scoreboard, it was like, 0 score, did not finish. You forget it quickly,
And Max, from back of the grid to finishing 6th, you called it early. You said, you even said, I think he might get to 5th.
Yeah.
He had 5th for a spell.
Yeah.
Will
I'm surprised that he didn't catch Lando in the end.
I am a bit. We were watching that battle for the final 3-4 laps. I was a little surprised at it, but knowing Max as you do, given the issue in qualifying, which he will have not been happy about, over the piece, 6th place, move on. Pretty content with that?
Yeah, pretty content with that. And to be honest, we just get this on tape right after the Grand Prix, so we don't know all the ins and outs. I know that Arvid Lindblad, for example, lost his boost mode. Same engine for Max, so maybe also Max lost his boost mode and couldn't attack Lando anymore.
Boost.
Yeah, boost mode. It's like we're talking about
Mario Karts.
But no, I mean Max did a hell of a job just to come back and get some points on the board.
I love it. China up next. It's a quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround.
As well.
Turnaround.
And the narrative doesn't change all that much. Mercedes.
But the opening lap, I mean, I look forward to the opening lap in China already because there could have so many crashes could have happened on this opening lap.
Well, we talked about Franco, and we're going to stick this up on our social medias. You got this clip. This is, to the point I actually asked you, is the clip sped up? And you said no.
Yeah. No, it's not. So the worst thing that can happen to a driver in any racing series, but particularly in Formula One, when you accelerate from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds, 0 to 200 in 6 seconds, if you're on the back of the grid and somebody halfway in the grid or leading on the front will stall his engine. Today we saw guys having wheel spin with 1,000 horsepower, just standing still and not moving forward because they deployed their battery at the wrong time or the clutch or whatever. Liam Lawson had the shittiest start of all on the grid.
A Chris McHardy-esque start.
A Chris McHardy-esque start. Then Colapinto arrives from the back of the grid. And then you see cars moving from left and right. And then his reaction was like that's why he's also a Formula One driver. You can say he's fast, he's not fast compared to Gasly. But instincts of an F1 driver are like fighter pilots.
Well, I need a little bit. We should maybe do a little example of this. I want to test my reaction speed against yours.
You know how they drop these tennis balls and you have to catch them? Yeah,
but we'll need to do this.
Yeah.
How quick your reaction speed? Do you remember any data from when you were an F1 driver?
0.18 of a second to release the clutch when the lights go off. So you have the 5 lights, and then when it goes to green, 0.18 on average. On a good day, maybe a little bit faster. But then you're talking thousands of seconds here and there. And it makes a difference of when you start fifth, you won't have a rocket launch like Leclerc because that's also due to the engine. But the reaction time of F1 drivers in Colapinto today was... Yeah. I mean, there could have been also a nasty crash, right? And if you drive at that speed into another car.
Yeah, a lot of people will not be aware of it. You said it. That's the moment of the race. Literally. And I said to you, come on, that must be sped up. It's not.
No, it's not.
It is. And he almost goes into the wall.
Yeah, of course.
And he manages to correct it. It's
extraordinary. It's nuts.
0.18 of a second reaction time.
Yeah.
Generalize that. What would I be roughly? What would a regular?
I think you will stall the engine.
I probably would. I would. In fact, not probably. I would stall it. No, I'm done. But
it depends. I mean, let's practice. I'll organize something. That we have a Batak wall that you can practice with this...
the reaction speed. And do you guys work
That's how you train it.
On a weekly basis?
Yeah, so you do aerodynamics, you do cardiovascular training, of course, swimming, running, cycling. But then what I also used to do is under pressure, while you're running on a treadmill really fast, I would get 2 buttons in my hand. On a screen, it would be written in Italian then because this training facilities are in Italy. It's called Formula Medicine. Lots of drivers went there in the past. You would see on the screen the word giallo, but it's written in black letters. And then you have to say true or false while doing it within 0.1 of a second. And then you push yourself to the limits to be faster and faster and faster while being under pressure physically that you're mentally able to make decisions.
That is extraordinary.
Yeah, so Formula One drivers, to be honest, they're really, really fit guys, but also mentally they're strong.
And as we touched on, I think in one of our previous episodes of the pod, then you throw in a Las Vegas, for example, with all the lights,
all the distractions.
I just don't think enough is made about how extraordinary it is. The reaction speeds with all that's going on around you.
Yeah.
It's staggering.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on. In Monaco, for example, the closing rates of the walls that come up to you, it's extremely fun.
It literally, my heart...
Sometimes you forget to breathe.
My heartbeat increases talking about it, just thinking of being in that.
But you know what's fun this year? You're going to be in a Formula One car, in a Formula One 2-seater. I'll be driving it and you'll be sitting. Yeah, so see what the reaction time
I'm already stressing about that a little bit. Can I ask this question? Because it leads on to a nice little anecdote you've got for us on this edition of the pod. Bernie Ecclestone lives now in Brazil.
Yeah.
I think he lives over there with his wife and his family. He would have watched that today. What do you think Bernie makes of it all?
I think Bernie can be quite critical. You know, I think the Bernie Formula One was the best Formula One there was out there, and
I'll never change.
I think his quote one time after he sold it to Liberty Global, he said, "I've made a 5-star restaurant, and they've made a McDonald's out of it."
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think Bernie is a real drivers' championship focused boss. I think in his days, you know, the big names, Senna, Menzel, they were all there, right? And he knows that the OEMs are important to have the engine or the car manufacturers there and to make them happy. But I think he won't be that happy to see this championship. I don't think he understands it that much, that it's too much engineering for his liking.
Do you reckon that remote control was flying across the living room?
I think there are some TVs that flow out of the window. But on the other hand, he hopes that he's probably wrong, because to see the sport grow this much. And Bernie is so sharp. He's everywhere. He still follows it. I spoke to him briefly in the paddock in Abu Dhabi. And it reminded me of the first time how I met Bernie.
Yeah, this
was nuts. This was like 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago, I was still a Formula 2 driver, and I got a test in Jordan and Barcelona. So what do you do as a test driver? You said, okay, thank you for the test, but I need sponsors. I need to get sponsors on my helmet. So I got a camera guy to shoot some images of me testing in Barcelona.
You got a camera guy, of course you
did. I flew a camera guy in to make some images of me testing. Then I flew to the Netherlands that night to do a live talk show in the evening. And I used these images in the talk show. Without permission of the FOM.
From Bernie, from F1.
Bernie, I thought, who's watching this talk show in the Netherlands at 11 p.m. at night on a Sunday? I'm just here, 10 seconds of me jumping in the car and driving past. It sounded great. It looked great. Next morning, I go to my office and there's a fax. Yes, for the people who are watching, the young guys, a fax rolling out. £64,000 worth of image rights. I was like, no, I don't have this money. I'm done.
You were fined next morning.
Next morning. So he has like Big Brother, eyes in the sky, that was just tracing this data. So next Grand Prix was in Belgium. I was still a Formula 2 driver. So I walked up to the office and knocked on the door at the FOM and said, is Mr. E here? Yes, he's there. I said, Mr. E, I'm sorry, I don't have this money. I was not aware that it's this strict, He said, no, I'll let you go for this time. As long as you spend some money in Formula 1 with your sponsors, you'll be fine. But can you imagine how the technology evolved in that aspect? That's why it's very impressive how F1 has this full control over what goes out and what stays within.
So you never did have to pay the
fine? No,
fine?
I never did have to pay the fine. I was
£64,000
for just a few seconds.
Note to our production team, please do not be using anything that we're going to get fined.
We can talk about it. We can use the pictures.
Because if we are fined, you've got more money than me, Rob, so you can pay it.
No, I'm done.
Great story, that. And Bernie, you can bet your life he was watching it.
For sure.
You can bet your life.
He made the sport.
He will have a view on it. So, the first race is in the can. We were loving it. Absolutely loving it. Second race in China.
A couple of days from now. Boom.
And the storyline continues again. Knowing what you do of the China circuit and what you've seen today, are Mercedes essentially running on rails? Are they going to be there?
It's not all good news for Mercedes, because there are some rules and regulations with how many components you can use. So you can use 5 PUs, power units, in one season. You can relate them. And then there's electronic and there's the battery. There you can only use 2 in one season. And George used all of them already.
He's used one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So, there's penalties if you need more, you can use more. Aston Martin, for example, doesn't have more. They only have 2 batteries because they're working flat out in Japan. So it looks great from the outset, but I'm sure they also have some challenges. And let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so, because I think it was Alex Albon that came out to say this Mercedes is
illegal. Can't be legal. Yeah, I would say the same if my car is 20 kilos too heavy and I'm driving in no man's land.
And they've found the...
And that's the thing. You can be so jealous, at one... These guys grew up in karting, so they're happy for George that he has the best car. But you're also jealous because you want to have the best car.
To be George right now. Yeah, there's a season stretched out in front of you. But as you heard from him, great car, love the engine.
Yeah.
If he keeps it on the track.
I think he already sent his invoice for the bonus, for the extra points for victory.
And they will be there or thereabouts. There's no doubt about that. I'm excited for what Ferrari have. Red Bull, of course, will.
Yeah,
there was enough there.
Yeah, enough there. Unfortunately with the one engine, but pace-wise, they're there. I think they can mix it up with the Ferraris and some tracks. But the Ferraris, the start procedure, everybody wants to launch like a Ferrari now.
Right, come on, snap conclusions. Who's winning it?
The championship?
Yes.
Antonelli, I said last week.
Are you sticking with him?
Yeah, why not? George is too. Yeah, you're gonna go for George now? Yeah.
I think I said it in the last podcast.
You said it?
I said George Russell.
No, you said Lewis Hamilton.
No.
Yeah, you did. Rewind.
I said I want Lewis. I'd love to see Lewis. And Sainz today, we were even remarking, just great to see him back in the lead of a Grand Prix, even if it was just for a few laps. I think there's a lot of people that...
Yeah, there's a good vibe around Lewis now in the Ferrari.
But it will be one of the Mercedes. I'm saying it now. Yeah. I know that's crazy after just one race, but you can feel it. Toto with a little glint in the eye, the little looks to camera. He knows he's got something special.
Yeah, and it looks like the customer engines are maybe not as fast as they used to be. So now the factory team is there. But yeah, bring on China. I'm ready.
China. Right, we are here, Millie Miglia. If you ever get the chance to pop over to Dubai, you got to come down. I mean, you were saying it. You've been inundated with
I have some
Dutch
fans that went on holiday here. They actually came to visit. It's a stunning place. They have all these memorabilia. It's really cool.
You can't buy it. You need to be absolutely minted.
And you don't want to scratch it either.
No, don't do that.
Expensive cars.
Don't do that. We tiptoe around this place, but it is our spiritual home. It is our home of the Pit Talk podcast, powered by Ethara. All roads, can I say it now?
All roads lead to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
yes.
Got to get the tagline in.
I mean, to the promoter of the year from last year. I'm sure they.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
I went to visit Saif to congratulate him and his team. Where they have this beautiful trophy, promoter of the year 2025. They worked their asses off all these years to get it done, and rightly so. They won it.
You know what won them, don't you? Backing this podcast.
See?
We were the tipping point for them to win promoter.
Don't be shy. I love that you're never shy. You're always very.
We'll take full credit. Listen, we're back, of course, every single Sunday/Monday after race. Nice to do this immediately after the race.
Yeah, you have the adrenaline still. China alarm clock very early. Then
very early. Production team don't know this yet, but we'll be back here
guys.
Next Monday as well. Next Sunday rather. The next 3 races, in fact.
Yeah,
China, Japan means we can get this done and dusted and give you a Monday morning off, Robert. Great to be joined by you, as it always is. Pit Talk podcast, powered by Ethara. Do give us a follow, leave a comment. Any questions for this man as well? Always welcome.
Yeah, ask questions.
Anything at all.
Anything.
Given the fact you've got that great Bernie Ecclestone story, I'm sure you've got many more.
I have a few more, but then we have to take a pint. You know?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And some of the stories you've got are not for airing either. Right, that is it for the Pit Talk podcast, powered by Ethara. Well done to George Russell. 6th Grand Prix victory of his career. Mercedes looking good. Great to see Ferrari. Shoots of optimism
Podium
there.
for Ferrari, great.
Sorry to Lando, and spare a thought to Aston Martin.
And well done, Franco Colapinto.
Oh, Franco Colapinto.
Look.
My hero of the day.
Fantastic.
Great stuff. Cheers, Rob.
See you.